Hey everybody, and welcome back to Jinkajabo. I'm just sitting here on my rooftop Sunday afternoon and thought I would share some thoughts about Trump's upcoming visit to Vietnam. He is going for I believe it's the APEC conference in Danang, which that's the third largest city here in Vietnam, and it's kind of midway between Hanoi and Saigon. And when I was there, I was quite surprised at just how metro it was, how it was just neon lights and everything. It was kind of like Las Vegas or something like that. Really a beautiful city, and I'm sure Trump and his kind will feel right at home in Da Nang. But of course, this led to some fighting, and Aussie Trump supporter friend of mine was kind of stirring the pot a bit. We had people say just outright on these Hanoi pages, "Oh, Trump is an idiot. Trump's an idiot. I can't believe he's coming here. Someone should feed him poison." some little cuck said that we should feed him poison. It's like, ugh, those words are a bit extreme, don't you think? Um, but of course, people are just taking the piss out of him, as they say, and it's not exactly serious. We kind of had that with Obama, but with Obama there was that racial sensitivity to it, which is to say, well, there was two factors. There was that, and then there was also just Obama's demeanor. Like, he was a very civilized, well-coiffed. Um, he was an individual that had a great sense of etiquette, and he almost went too far with it. But okay, so I commented. I said, "Look, everyone says that Trump is this lazy idiot reality TV star who doesn't have any business in politics. When he's coming here to Vietnam to create jobs both for the Vietnamese and for Americans like myself, and probably for any neighboring country like China and Japan, of course. Um, this part of the world, the economy spreads quickly, and Vietnam is on the cusp of that, and they're set to make lots of money. But he's coming here for the APEC conference to make sure we get more jobs. And Obama's last visit, he came here to be on, I believe it was the Anthony Bourdain show, and they showed him sitting at an authentic Vietnamese restaurant in the old quarter that I think it got renamed Obama's Restaurant, that has his picture on the top. And I remember seeing the video of that, and he's sitting there on the plastic furniture just like we have here. Loud motorcycles. And he's eating a bun cha, and bun cha, everyone says, "Oh, you gotta try bun cha." Everyone gets so excited about bun cha out here, but it's sort of like, China has dumplings, or Korea has kimchi, where they're always making you eat it, but I don't know. I personally don't like it. It's just like a sausage, and I've had it cold too. And I went on a road trip last winter for Tet, and it's all I could eat. But anyway, it showed him eating it, like, just pop this sucker right in your mouth, he says. It was good TV, but the fact was, it was reality TV. And it wasn't reality TV like, say, The Apprentice, which had the original concept of being like a job-creating thing. And so, all this talk about him being a reality star, and that's how he's not qualified, when we had Obama come here and do reality TV. And then, of course, someone pointed out to me, well, you weren't here 3 years ago. He came then too. Okay, maybe he wasn't on reality TV that time, but what exactly did he do besides push our national deficit and look at race relations, look at employment and everything? Like, in Trump's first year, I mean, there are things he's done that I really disagree with, but he has brought a lot of jobs back. And look at Dow Jones, look at Wall Street. I mean, money is coming back to the U.S., and a lot of it has to do with just international perceptions of us and how those have changed. And so, like, the symbolic role of a president is very big, but simply to go to another country and eat their food and sit there on their plastic furniture like the common people, like those of us who go out in the old quarter at night and just want some cheap food and some beers, you're sitting around participating in that, just pandering to I don't know who exactly, kind of stroking his own ego. At least with Trump, it makes a lot of sense, and at least with his Apprentice show. And I remember seeing that on TV when it first aired. That's how old that I am, and I really liked it. Like my roommate and I would actually tune in every week, and that was back in the days of reality TV when I remember watching the original Survivor and the original Big Brother, and this was back in the late '90s, early 2000s when there really wasn't much else on. We didn't have YouTube and stuff, which for me and hopefully for a lot of you has replaced all of my other TV. Where was I? Mouthful of thoughts. But okay, so he's, celebrating the food of another culture. That's great. Just like I remember he was giving that patronizing talk about Japan. I don't remember if it was with a Japanese assembly or if it was in Japan, but he said stuff like, we really like your emojis and stuff like that. So Obama had his share of faux pas, but he was just so smooth, just the way he walked, the way he talked, it kind of covered up for everything else, in my opinion, anyway. But he did bow to a king, which really bothered me. He would do stuff like that, like you're an American. That's one thing that is true about our identities, and it should be true. What was that? You guys ever hear of a camera overheating? It shut down on me because it said it was getting too hot, but I guess it's sunset. Maybe the sun has moved a little bit, but it interrupted me mid-thought. I was talking about Obama being on reality TV. And anyway, that was just the point that I made. That's just my take on things, and I have a great deal of faith in our president, and that's very strange to say because, the whole time he's been around, I guess I haven't been in the States, so I don't really know what life is really like, or to what extent, our president even affects that. But I do know how our international image is changing a little bit from out here, and it's really encouraging to meet so many Vietnamese who are pro-Trump. And it's also surprising to see how many international, expats are very anti-Trump without really knowing much about it, knowing anything about his policies, or really understanding who Obama was, or who Clinton was, for that matter. Of course, we all can agree that Bush was terrible. That interruption. Now I can hear a cock-a-doodle-doo. I hear chickens up here. It's kind of neat. So I wanted to talk about one more thing. I wanted to talk about the Ken Burns Vietnam documentary, because that's been all over social media. And I feel like I want to see it, but at the same time, it is kind of exhausting to watch Vietnam stuff. I don't know. I go through phases. Like, I watched Platoon. I'd never seen that. On the grounds that Roger Ebert said that it was better than Full Metal Jacket. Sorry, I'm like Hillary Clinton right now. He said it was better than Full Metal Jacket, which, I had to see for myself. But I've actually watched Full Metal Jacket out here with a Canadian friend who was visiting. It was right up on this roof. And we had the projector out and everything. That was really cool. And so it can be fun to watch Vietnam stuff while in Vietnam, but it can also make you quite sick. Just like going to the War Museum in Saigon this summer, I saw some really graphic photos and pieces of shrapnel and everything. And of course, there is a dark side to all of us, and I don't know, I've always liked reading horrifying accounts of history, just maybe to get a little perspective in my life, because I am maybe the biggest crybaby I know. Ultimately, I complain all the time. So it's amazing to think of what actual suffering looks like. What's the really drastic stuff. I mean, it's not worth basing your political identity around. It's not worth saying, okay, well, now we have to punch Nazis and stuff. But just knowing that capacity exists somewhere. I was watching Jordan Peterson on the Joe Rogan show, and he was talking about his admiration for Jung. And a central idea to Jung was that you have to face your own demon, you have to characterize it, and then you have to rein it in control. And for that to really happen, you have to look at horrifying things and horrifying people and horrifying experiences, and knowing that in some way you are contributing to that. You are part of the nightmare. To go in a different direction, in some spiritual reading, which I'll get into later, I've come to the realization that you can't look at life as a dream, you have to look at yourself as a dreamer. and understand that to some extent your inner visualizations and fears take hold. I'm not talking about like the secret stuff. I'm not talking about new thought, science of mind, or anything, or even positive thinking, really. But I am saying that we give ourselves less credit than we actually have, and that we have more control. And realizing that is kind of terrifying, just like realizing, as part of that control, as part of that will, we all have a very dark side. So I am going to watch the Vietnam War documentary, but I'm not sure when. I'm sure I can find it online. It's probably streaming for free on a Vietnamese website right now, I bet. But I haven't looked yet. And, I do like Ken Burns. I didn't see his baseball documentary, because, yeah, I like baseball, but not enough to watch 10 hours of commentary about it. But his jazz documentary was really good, and I've seen that twice. And it's an education in jazz, and everyone who likes the genre really needs to see it. But hopefully he delivers on this Vietnam War thing, and it's not too depressing, or I can interpret it the right way, or feel correctly about it. It's been interesting talking to Vietnamese people about the war, especially those in my generation, like those of us who can't really remember it. And I don't know, people are full of surprises. I meet so many diverse political opinions here, and it's really far out. And I wish more people would get on camera and share theirs, because you don't have to be Donald Trump, and you don't have to be Barack Obama to be on television. All you need to do is, what did Stefan Molyneux say? You just need a camera and some balls, So let's do this. Let's talk more to each other, because this is all that's left, really. You can't trust these. You can't trust legacy media, mainstream media. It's all bought and sold. It's completely out in the open now. It's completely transparent. And it's like Chomsky says, in America, in most countries, you kneel down before the king, and the king has a sword. But in America, we all just kind of voluntarily just sit down and shine the king's boots. And even though we consider it one of our values, people don't really stick up for themselves or speak their minds. And when they do, they're often full of shit. And I am too. Like, I say things sometimes without fact checking, and I walk away and I'm like, I am a complete idiot here. But at least I'm going there, and at least I'm capable in some way of change. And autumn for me, like this time of year, always represents kind of interchange. It's going to the next grade or the next school. This is where jobs turn around and sites turn around and all that. And there's a Chinese poem called the 1,000-Character Classic. 1,000 character as in symbols. Each syllable is a different word, different picture in Chinese writing. And I forget the exact words in English, and certainly not in Chinese, but it says something like, when you look at your reflection in a stream, on a sunny day, you look down, you see your reflection in the stream, you tell yourself that it's just one stream, and you tell yourself that it's just one face. But, thinking about Jordan Peterson, I've been thinking about how different I was just even a few weeks ago, how much things change, and how much you have to be willing to experience this change and to pick apart your own head. Anyway, I've talked and talked. That's enough Jinka Jabo today. See ya.